Why focus on Boise Cascade Company? Price Target Research tracks 6,000 North American traded companies on a regular basis, consistently looking for new stock market winners. To find stocks meriting further analysis, PTR utilizes a large number of selection criteria. Initial criteria include adequate company size and liquidity, recent better than market stock price performance, and a high value trend rating. Risk and income orientation are also considered when appropriate. Additional considerations include recent company sales and earnings acceleration, favorable improvement in earnings estimates, adequate liquidity, attractive longer-term market success, and finally, favorable performance of other members in the company's industry group. Boise Cascade grades out very well on these criteria. Our appraisal of potential stock price performance relative to the company's peer group and the overall stock market is based on three key drivers of value: growth, profitability, and risk. Boise's important characteristics: high financial strength, high expected growth, high profitability, somewhat low stability. A big positive influence on Boise's valuation is its superior profitability. It should also be noted that Boise continues in line with other high-rated housing-related stocks that we've presented earlier. Welcome to Price Target Research. I'm John Lafferty. Boise Cascade Company manufactures wood products and distributes building materials in the United States and Canada. It operates through two segments: wood products and building materials distribution. The wood products segment manufactures laminated veneer lumber and laminated beams used in headers and beams, I-joists for residential and commercial flooring and roofing systems, and other structural applications. Structural appearance and industrial plywood panels and ponderosa pine lumber products. The segment's products are used in new residential construction, residential repair and remodeling markets, light commercial construction, and industrial applications. It sells its products to wholesalers, home improvement centers, retail lumber yards, and industrial converters. Boise Cascade is traded on the New York Stock Exchange with the ticker BCC. The company closed trading on January 22nd at $137.58, with a market cap of about $5.5 billion. Boise's common shares will need to reach $231 to achieve average annual stock market performance of 9% over the next 6 years. Upper quartile performance would require a $272 Boise stock price by 2028. What's the market's view of Boise's future operating performance as reflected in the current price of $138? The quartile chart is an essential tool in producing PTR's valuation scorecard. For each metric included, performance of a company and its peer group is ranked high to low and quartiles identified. The high end of the bar is top quartile, the bottom end is lower quartile, and the line in the middle is median performance. The company's value is determined, converted to a percentile, and it's also plotted with a red dot. Quartile charts are useful to help define a company's investment profile. 12 investment variables are used in the analysis, arranged into 4 categories: valuation, growth, profitability, and risk. Boise's investment profile is very sharply drawn. A large number of characteristics stand out. Its high dividend yield, low PE ratio, high financial strength, somewhat high stock price volatility, low financial leverage, and low equity market value, high expected growth, and high historical growth are all extreme. Relative to the S&P 500, Boise has neutral growth value characteristics. Its appeal is likely to be to investors heavily oriented towards income. Boise is of high investment quality. Boise Cascade's peer group consists of 14 companies that have very similar investment and operating characteristics. The company has high valuation, leading shareholder returns. Its current valuation levels are high relative to the peer group. Its recent market returns have significantly outperformed the peer group. Relative to the S&P 500, Boise's overall valuation is pretty low. Its current annual total return performance of 106.8% is upper quartile relative to the S&P 500. Its current 5-year annualized total return performance of 49.7% is also upper quartile relative to the S&P 500 and is quite outstanding. PTR's assessment of growth starts with the fact that a company's intrinsic or sustainable growth rate, reflects such physical things as units produced, customer counts, square feet, and head count. Our analysis of Boise's growth involves the balance sheet as well as the income statement, because intrinsic growth is reflected in the growth of balance sheet measures such as current assets, gross plant, and shareholder equity. Boise's equity growth, earnings growth, and asset growth have been superior. These factors have buoyed market perceptions of the company. Its historical income statement growth and balance sheet growth have diverged, however. Revenue growth has fallen short of asset growth. Earnings growth, on the other hand, has exceeded equity growth, resulting in an improving return on equity. Boise's consensus growth rate forecast, which is the average of all the Wall Street analysts' forecasts who follow the company, is 17.7% a year, substantially above the average of the historical growth measures. Our own growth rate forecast is 23%, which is also substantially above the consensus and substantially above the average of the historical growth measures. Firms create wealth by investing capital at returns above the cost of capital. The higher the spread between the rate of return and the cost of capital, the more wealth is created and the higher the potential stock market valuation. Thus, return on capital and return on equity are extremely important in understanding a firm's performance on behalf of its shareholders. Our appraisal of Boise's profitability starts with pre-tax return on assets, which is a function of asset turnover and pre-tax profit margin. Return on equity depends on this return on assets as well as tax and leverage effects. Boise's return on equity has improved very significantly since 2013. The current level of 22% is well above the low for the period and is about 15% from the high. A major analytical focus for Boise is a very strong positive trend in its pre-tax operating returns, significantly offset by very strong negative trends in non-operating factors. The productivity of Boise assets declined over the full period 2013 to 2023. Asset turnover, measure of asset productivity, is, as you can see, suffered a significant overall downtrend. On the other hand, the company's pre-tax margin has enjoyed a very strong overall uptrend over the same period. Non-operating factors, income taxes, and financial leverage, had a significant negative influence on the company's return on equity. Profitability has been Boise's biggest valuation strength. Pre-tax return on assets, pre-tax margin, and asset turnover are group leading. These factors have strengthened market perceptions of Boise. The company has very low cash and will have to work to generate attractive returns on investment and improve valuation. Return on equity, our forecast is 14.8%, significantly below our recent forecast. The company's performance has been characterized by a dramatic, erratic increase in the return on equity between 2014 and 2022. Our forecast is still well above the 2016 low of 8%. Boise Cascade's risk profile is favorable. Its overall variability has been above average, with above average revenue variability as well as earnings variability, and also very high stock price volatility. Financial strength, on the other hand, is relatively very high, and earnings expectations for the company are also very high. The company's debt-to-capital ratio, finally, has declined very significantly. Relative to the Boise peer group, the company's wealth creation profile is very favorable. The profile is based on measures of warranted value, appreciation potential, and total shareholder returns. The rate of change in the company's warranted market value is relatively very high. The appreciation score, as a consequence, is also relatively high. The company's one-year return, as discussed earlier, is relatively very high, and its 5-year annualized return is also very high. Total shareholder returns for Boise are expected to significantly beat the overall equity market. Based on current investor expectations, the company's shares should reach a level of $558 by 2028, an almost 30% per year total shareholder return. The 2028 stock price of $231 would reflect median performance, and a price of $272 would be required to reach upper quartile performance. The company fairly easily meets that standard. PTR's value trend rating is the overall measure of a stock's relative attractiveness compared to a universe of all companies traded on North American exchanges. The value trend rating combines the appreciation score that measures a stock's appreciation potential relative to the universe, with 0 being the lowest and 100 the highest, and the power rating that measures its current timeliness. again with 0 being the lowest and 100 the highest. A high value trend rating on a stock means that it's expected to lead the general market, while a low value trend rating stocks are expected to lag. Boise has a current value trend rating of A, our highest rating. The company has a good appreciation score of 74 and an extremely high power rating of 100, with the highest value trend rating result. The value trend rating is designed to identify groups of companies at stages when their performance reflects important underlying change. In these cases, a given value trend rating can be maintained for a relatively long period of time. It is important, however, that ratings be regularly reviewed for specific stocks of interest. Boise Cascade's rating history has been variable. Over the last 41 months, the stock has been A or B rated, which is the largest rating category, obviously, about 80% of the time, bouncing around between A and B. Well, that's a wrap for the Boise Cascade Company Valuation Scorecard. You can find additional company research and current value trend ratings on our website at pricetargetresearch.com and more videos on youtube.com/pricetargetresearch.